A kidnapping operation in Plateau State has ended with a dramatic rescue after troops reportedly forced the abductors to abandon their female victim and flee into the surrounding area. The victim, identified as 47-year-old Mrs. Paulina Alfred, was rescued on Tuesday by troops of Sector 3 of Operation Enduring Peace, following an intensive search operation triggered by distress calls from members of the community. According to information attributed to military sources by counter-insurgency expert Zagazola Makama, Mrs. Alfred was adopted from her residence in Dong Village, just north local government area of Plateau State. Her disappearance prompted members of the community to raise the alarm, leading security forces to begin an operation aimed at locating the victim and tracking down those responsible for the adoption. The operation reportedly began at about 7 o'clock a.m. when troops launched a search for the kidnappers. Security personnel subsequently tracked the adopters to the Rafin Buana General Area in Bassa local government area. The movement of the troops appeared to have placed increasing pressure on the kidnappers as the search operation intensified. And then came the turning point. According to the accounts, the kidnappers abandoned Mrs. Alfred as the troops closed in and fled into the surrounding area. The victim was subsequently found by the soldiers and rescued without suffering further harm. For a woman who had reportedly been taken from her home and held by armed abductors, the moment marked the end of what could have become a much more dangerous ordeal. The rescue also highlights the importance of rapid information sharing between communities and security forces in kidnapping cases. Time is often critical. The earlier security agencies receive credible information about an adoption, the greater the possibility of tracking the perpetrators before they can move their victims to a more difficult location. In this case, the distress calls from members of the community reportedly helped trigger the response that eventually led troops to the kidnappers' location. The subsequent tracking operation demonstrated the role that timely intelligence can play in disrupting kidnapping operations. The military's reported success also comes against the background of continued security challenges in parts of Plateau State. The state has experienced attacks, communal tensions, criminal activity, and kidnapping incidents, making the protection of rural and vulnerable communities an ongoing challenge for security agencies. But while the rescue of Mrs. Alfred is welcome news, another question remains: what happened to the kidnappers? According to the information released about the operation, the adopters escaped into the surrounding area after abandoning their victim. This means the rescue operation may only be one part of the wider security response. The priority will now be to identify the fleeing suspects, establish their movements, and prevent them from carrying out another kidnapping. The ability of criminal groups to disappear into difficult terrain after abandoning or releasing victims remains a major challenge for security agencies. A successful rescue is therefore only fully effective when it is followed by sustained effort to apprehend those responsible. After she was rescued, Mrs. Alfred was debriefed by security personnel before being reunited with her family. The debriefing process is important because the victim may be able to provide investigators with information about their adopters, their numbers, weapons, movements, hideouts, and other details that could assist future operations. Such information can also help authorities understand how the kidnappers operated and whether they are connected to other kidnapping incidents in the area. For the family of Mrs. Alfred, however, the immediate priority is very different. After the fear and uncertainty surrounding her disappearance, her safe return means she can now be reunited with those who had been waiting for her. The incident also sends a message to communities affected by kidnapping. Reporting suspicious activity and immediately alerting security agencies can make a difference. Community members are often the first people to notice unusual movements, unfamiliar individuals, or criminal activity. Effective communication between residents and security forces can therefore strengthen the response to threats. At the same time, residents must exercise caution and avoid confronting armed criminals themselves. Kidnapping operation can involve heavily armed individuals, and attempts by civilians to intervene without adequate protection can result in additional casualties. The rescue of Mrs. Alfred is consequently both a human victory and a security development. One victim has been brought home safely, but the people responsible for adoption remain at large. According to the available information, the troops of Operation Enduring Peace now face the challenge of maintaining pressure on the fleeing adopters and gathering intelligence that could lead to their arrest. If the suspects are eventually captured, investigators will also need to establish whether they are connected to other criminal operations in Plateau State. For residents of Dong Village and surrounding communities, the operation provides some reassurance that distress calls can trigger a rapid security response. But the larger security challenge remains: preventing kidnappers from operating in the first place. Mrs. Alfred's safe rescue is therefore a reminder of what effective security intervention can achieve. The kidnappers may have escaped, but they were forced to abandon their victim before they could carry out whatever plans they had for her. She was found alive, taken into the care of security personnel, and eventually reunited with her family. The operation may not have ended the kidnapping threat in Plateau State, but it has delivered one important result. A 47-year-old woman who was taken from her home is back with her family today, while the troops continue the search for those who adopted her. If you want more breaking Nigerian news and security reports, subscribe to the channel and stay with us for the latest developments. I'm Chidera Isom. Thanks for watching.